So I decided to share this testimony today because of all these stories that have been flying that Pastor Jerry is fake. Now, Pastor Jerry was not the one that did these miracles. It was God that passed through him. He was a channel God used. So I think this is an opportunity for everybody who had prayed on that platform and gotten a miracle to speak up. I'm not doing this to be in the good books of any NSPPDian. I'm not doing this because I am Pastor Jerry's church member. I am doing this because it would be unfair for me not to share my own testimony of what happened on Pastor Jerry's praying platform when my mom was not feeling well. In 2020, my mom took ill. And 2019, my mom took ill and we took her to the hospital. She became better. Then in 2020, during the lockdown, we didn't want anybody to come close to her, so she was indoors. And each time anybody who is not part of the house, in my sister's house where she was, when we came, all my siblings, when they come to see my mom, they stood outside the window to speak to my mom. In fact, if they wanted to even come closely to her, they stood outside the burglary to speak to my mom. So nobody had contact with my mom. So one day, my mom started complaining that she wasn't feeling well, and they called me. Thank goodness I lived very close to my sister, so I rushed down and my husband took her to the hospital. When we got to that hospital, the hospital name is Kelena Hospital, and it's in Gwarimpa. So we have to be saying things the way they are. So when we got there, they decided that because of the way my mom was, they gave her an injection. One other doctor who was a visiting doctor gave my mom an injection, and my mom could not understand where she was, and she started reacting to the injection. So the next thing, my mom was saying she was not understanding where she was. So she started, acting funny, which I called my brothers and I told them. I posted it on our. So when I told my siblings, they started, some of them, in fact, my brothers, they were crying. So I now asked them, I said, you people are crying and I'm here, the one taking care of my mom. So they now opened up, they said, so what can we do? My mom did not understand where she was. She refused to eat, she refused to take water, and it was time for her to take her BP medication or thereabout. And then I didn't know what to do. Something just told me, now that it's morning, this is the period she listens to NSPPD. Why not turn on the NSPPD on her phone and put it close to her? By the time you break, it's time for communion, break bread and give her. Once she's able to take that communion, she'll take this medication, because the medication was now with me and it was time bound. Is that the right word to use? I don't even know. It was something that you have to take at specific times. That's the thing. So I decided to give my mom the communion. It was time for communion, because they used to have this 3 communion time. They'll do 3 communion like that. So I did. There was biscuits in the hospital. I broke bread, I used it as communion, and I gave her. And I kept the thing by her side. She was listening to everything, and in her spirit, in her subconscious, she was saying amen, because of course she has been listening. She listens to NSPPD every day before that incident. So immediately I did that, she took the communion, and then I used that opportunity to give her the medication, and she took it. I gave her food, and she collected food for the first time after she had not eaten for a very long time. She took the food after the communion, and she took that medication. That's my own testimony. A lot of people's testimony could be very dramatic, but mine, that was my testimony, because I had faith that if I tie my faith to Pastor Jerry's own and to my mom, who was always listening to him, that we are going to have a good result, and it happened. So what is that testimony that you have had? I remembered when the visiting doctor came up with the story that my mom had COVID. In the midst of all this confusion, we were still listening to NSPPD, and God came through for us. So it's all about faith. If you are listening to NSPPD and you've not gotten your own miracle, and you have faith that it will happen, it will happen. But if you are on the platform and you are not even believing what's going on, instead of you judging and saying things you don't know, it's better you just leave the platform. Pastor Jerry has the right to benefit from what, for somebody who has been on live streams for 4 years, and you are now asking why will he be making money? How is he ripping you off? Let me tell you something about YouTube and Facebook. Even if people don't send super chat or super thanks or stars, that as you are watching, the YouTube itself is paying him. As you are watching and even saying the amen, the Facebook will pay him. So there's no There's no point to do all this drama, because a lot of people have seen their comments and I'm just laughing to myself. So if you don't believe in somebody, why do you need to follow the person? So Pastor Jerry did not force anybody to join. He only says share. If you don't want to share, he doesn't force you to share. And a lot of people still use Pastor Jerry's name to scam people. Pastor Jerry will not ask you to give him money. He's just a humble servant of God. So you push your line in rest. Bye.